Rain hammered against the old wooden house as a black luxury car slowly stopped in front of the rusty gate. The neighbors peeked through their windows, whispering in disbelief. No one had ever seen a car worth millions enter their forgotten street. A woman dressed in a simple white coat stepped out. She wasn't wearing expensive jewelry, yet everyone recognized her face from television. She was one of the youngest female billionaires in the country. Holding an old faded photograph in her trembling hand, she walked toward the tiny house and knocked 3 times. The door opened. A tired man carrying a little girl looked at her with confused eyes. "I'm sorry," he said softly. "Are you looking for someone?" The billionaire smiled through tears. "I'm looking for the son of Daniel Carter." The man's expression changed. "That was my father." She took a deep breath. "I've come to repay what your father did for me 25 years ago." Silence filled the air. The little girl looked up at her father. "Daddy, why is the rich lady crying?" Ethan Carter was only 34 years old, but life had already taken almost everything from him. His wife had died of illness 3 years earlier, leaving him to raise 7-year-old Lily alone. Every morning he worked construction jobs, delivered groceries at night, and still struggled to pay rent and school fees. His greatest treasure wasn't money. It was Lily's smile. Their tiny house leaked whenever it rained, and the refrigerator was almost empty, but Ethan never allowed his daughter to sleep hungry. Meanwhile, Victoria Hayes had everything money could buy. Private jets, luxury homes, international companies, magazine covers. Yet every birthday she visited the same old photograph hidden inside her wallet. It showed a little homeless girl sitting beside an elderly man who shared his only sandwich with her. That man was Daniel Carter. 25 years earlier, Victoria wasn't Victoria Hayes. She was simply Vicky, a frightened 10-year-old orphan who survived by collecting bottles and sleeping behind bus stations. One freezing winter evening she fainted from hunger. People walked past her without stopping. Only one man knelt beside her. An old factory worker carrying a worn lunchbox. "Little one," he whispered. "You need this more than I do." He gave her his only meal. She tried refusing. He smiled. "If you become successful one day, don't pay me back." She asked, "Then what should I do?" He gently touched her head. "Help someone else who needs it." Before leaving, he secretly slipped $50 into her pocket. That money changed everything. She bought food, enrolled in a shelter program, earned scholarships, graduated with honors, started a small software company, and years later built one of the biggest business empires in the world. She searched for Daniel Carter for years. Only recently had she discovered he had passed away. But he had left behind a son. Standing inside Ethan's tiny living room, Victoria looked around. The furniture was old. The walls were cracked. The roof leaked into a bucket placed on the floor. Yet family photographs covered every wall. Love lived there. Lily offered Victoria half of her cookie. "It's the last one," Lily whispered. "But Daddy says sharing makes everything taste better." Victoria froze. Those were the exact words Daniel had spoken to her decades earlier. She accepted the tiny cookie and quietly wiped away another tear. Victoria handed Ethan a check worth $10 million. "I owe your father more than I can ever repay." Ethan stared at the paper before placing it back into her hands. "I'm grateful," he said. "But my father never helped people expecting rewards." Victoria insisted. "This isn't charity. It's a debt." Ethan smiled. "If you truly want to honor him, help families who have no one." Victoria looked at him with surprise. Most people chased wealth. This man walked away from it. For the first time in years, she understood why Daniel had raised such a remarkable son. The next morning social media exploded. News channels reported that billionaire Victoria Hayes had spent the entire night in the home of an unknown single father. Rumors spread everywhere. Some claimed they were secretly dating. Others said she was buying the neighborhood. Victoria ignored every headline. Instead, she invited Ethan to her headquarters. Thousands of employees watched as she introduced him. This man refused $10 million. The room fell silent. "He reminded me that true wealth is measured by kindness." Then she announced something unexpected. She was creating the Daniel Carter Foundation. Its mission was simple. No child would ever sleep hungry because they were poor. And she wanted Ethan to lead it. Ethan hesitated. "I've never managed a company." Victoria smiled. "My greatest mentor never finished college. Your father changed my life with one sandwich and one act of kindness." Leadership begins with compassion. After discussing it with Lily, Ethan accepted. Not because of the salary, but because thousands of children needed help. The foundation grew faster than anyone imagined. Free school meals, emergency housing, scholarships, medical assistance, communities transformed. One afternoon a little boy walked into the foundation office carrying a paper bag. Inside was half of his lunch. "I heard another kid is hungry," he said. Victoria and Ethan exchanged emotional smiles. Kindness had begun multiplying, exactly as Daniel had hoped. Years later, reporters interviewed Victoria during the opening of the foundation's 1000th community center. A journalist asked, "Of all your business achievements, what makes you the proudest?" She didn't mention billions of dollars. She didn't mention global companies. Instead she pointed toward Ethan and Lily, who were laughing with dozens of children. A poor factory worker once shared his lunch with a starving girl. Everything you see today grew from that single decision. Nearby, Lily quietly slipped her sandwich into another little girl's backpack when she thought no one was watching. Victoria noticed and smiled. The circle had finally become complete. Sometimes the world changes not because of powerful people, but because ordinary people choose kindness when they have almost nothing left to give. And somewhere beyond the clouds, Daniel Carter's simple lesson continued to echo through thousands of grateful hearts. If life blesses you, don't pay it back. Pay it forward. The end.